On New Year's Eve, my daughter-in-law told me to go upstairs and watch the ball drop on TV, because this party isn't for you. 40 family members laughed. Someone yelled, "Don't forget to turn on the subtitles for her." They had no idea I'd spent 6 months recording every word she said, and that at midnight, we'd all be watching something together on the biggest screen in the house. You ever have someone try to erase you while you're standing right there? My name is Grace Brown. I'm 70 years old. I live in Chicago, Illinois, and I built a real estate empire worth $4.2 million with my own bleeding hands. That New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2024, my son's wife stood in my living room wearing a dress that cost more than my first car and told me I didn't belong at a party in my own house. The house I bought, the furniture I paid for, the food she was serving, that I cooked in my own house. Grace Leah said, her voice dripping with that fake concern she'd perfected. "Why don't you go upstairs and get comfortable? You can watch the ball drop on TV. This party really isn't for someone your age." My daughter, Barbara. My own daughter nodded nervous guilty, but she nodded. The room got quiet for exactly 3 seconds. Then my niece Helen laughed. Then Leah's sister Claire. Then all 40 of them. Cousins, nieces, nephews, people I'd fed at my table for decades. Laughing like Leah had just told the funniest joke they'd ever heard. "Make sure you turn on the subtitles," someone shouted from the back. More laughter, louder this time. I stood there 70 years old, invisible, in my own house. But here's what they didn't know. I wasn't broken. I was ready. I smiled, calm, steady. The kind of smile that should have warned them. "You're right, Leah," I said. "Something is going to drop at midnight, but we're all going to watch it together on this screen." I pointed to the television, the big one. The 75-inch screen my son Benjamin had insisted I didn't need, because I probably couldn't even work the remote. Leah's smile faltered just for a second. "What are you talking about?" Benjamin asked. He looked tired. He always looked tired these days. "You'll see," I said. "Everyone will see at midnight." But what brought me to that moment? What they'd done to get me there would make that New Year's Eve confrontation look like mercy. Let me tell you how I got here. I came to Chicago in 1979, 26 years old. Nothing in my pockets but a bus ticket stub and my mama's pearls wrapped in newspaper. I left Mississippi because there was nothing there for me but dirt roads and men who thought a black woman's only worth was what she could cook or clean or birth. My mama walked me to the Greyhound station. She pressed those pearls into my hand, the only thing of value she'd ever owned. And she said, "Baby, when you get where you're going, you protect what's yours. Don't matter if it's blood asking. You protect what's yours." I didn't understand then. I do now. Chicago was cold, colder than anything I'd known. The wind came off Lake Michigan like it had teeth. I found work in a garment factory on the south side. 12-hour shifts, sometimes 14. My fingers bled from the needles. My back screamed from hunching over the machines. The factory floor smelled like machine oil and sweat, and the dreams of women just like me. Women who came north thinking they'd find something better, and learned real quick that better is something you have to build yourself. I made $335 an hour. I lived in a room so small you could touch both walls if you stretched your arms out. Shared a bathroom with 6 other women, ate rice and beans 5 nights a week, saved every penny that didn't go to rent or food. Every New Year's Eve, while other people partied, I sat on my narrow bed with a notebook and counted my money. Planned my next move. Calculated how long until I could afford something real, something they couldn't take, something that was mine. By 1982, I had $8,000 saved. Not enough for a house, but enough for a lot. A small lot on the south side. Nothing pretty. The neighborhood was rough, but I knew that land was the only thing they can't make more of. And I knew Chicago was growing. I bought that lot for $6,500. Paid cash. The white man at the title office looked at me like I'd stolen the money. He counted it 3 times, made me sign the papers twice, kept asking if I understood what I was signing. I understood just fine. That lot is worth $340,000 today. Everything I built started with that one piece of land. I met William in 1983. He was an electrician, good man, steady. He never asked about my money, and I never told him the full truth. Not because I didn't trust him, but because my mama's voice was always in my head. Protect what's yours. We got married in 1984, had Benjamin in 1985, Barbara in 1987. I kept working, kept saving, kept watching the real estate market like a hawk watches a field mouse. Every time the market dipped, I bought. In 1989, I bought a 2-flat. In 1994, another lot. In 1998, a 3-unit building that needed work but had good bones. In 2003, a small house I could rent out. In 2007, right before the crash, I sold 2 properties and waited. Then in 2010, when everyone was panicking, I bought 3 more. Everything I built property by property, dollar by dollar. William never knew the full extent. He knew I was smart with money. He knew I owned some properties, but he didn't know about all of them. He didn't need to. He died in 2015. Aneurysm sudden. One clears throat minute, he was fixing the kitchen light. The next minute, he was on the floor and I was screaming his name, and the paramedics were telling me there was nothing they could do. I buried him on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, I went to my lawyer's office and updated my will. By then, I owned 7 properties worth $4.2 million total. Everything I'd worked for, everything I'd built with my own hands. I never told my children, never told anyone except my attorney, Mr. Julian Harper, a black man my age who'd watch me build this empire property by property and never once questioned my right to it. I dressed, plain drove, an old car, lived modest, let people think I was just another old woman scraping by on Social Security, because my mama taught me, when you're a black woman, when you're old, when you're both, people will try to take what's yours. They'll smile while they do it. They'll call it helping. But I learned something else too. I learned to stay quiet. Watch everything. Use what you see before anyone knows you saw it. I didn't learn that in business school. I learned it in that garment factory. I learned it on those Mississippi dirt roads. I learned it every time a white man counted my money 3 times because he couldn't believe it was mine. I learned what they don't teach in schools, and I learned that every New Year's Eve you take stock, you assess, you plan. I just never imagined that one New Year's Eve I'd be planning to take down my own son. But what happened when Benjamin brought Leah home would set everything in motion. Benjamin brought Leah home in March 2018. "Mom, I want you to meet someone special," he said on the phone. His voice had that nervous excitement I remembered from when he was a boy showing me his report card. I made dinner, pot roast greens, cornbread from scratch, set the table with the good plates. Leah walked through my door like she was inspecting a property she planned to condemn. She was beautiful, I'll give her that. Tall, polished hair, laid perfectly, nails done, wearing a cream-colored pantsuit that probably cost more than my monthly grocery bill. She smelled expensive, not perfume you buy at the department store, but the kind you get at those boutiques where they don't put price tags on anything, because if you have to ask, you can't afford it. "Mrs. Brown," she said, extending her hand, "it's so lovely to finally meet you." Her handshake felt like touching something dead, cold, firm enough to seem confident, but no warmth behind it. Should have known right then nothing living would ever grow between us. "Call me Grace," I said, because that's what polite people do. She smiled. "Grace, what a beautiful home you have. So vintage, vintage." That's what she called it. Like my house. My own house was something you'd find in a museum instead of something I'd fought for. We sat down to dinner. Benjamin couldn't stop looking at her, couldn't stop smiling. My boy was gone. completely gone, and she knew it. "So, Grace," Leah said, cutting her pot roast into perfect little pieces, "Benjamin tells me you've lived here for years. Do you own this house, first red flag?" "I do," I said. "This is my house." "That's wonderful." She took a sip of water. "Real estate in this neighborhood has really appreciated, hasn't it? You must have quite an asset here." "It's my home," I said. "Of course." Another smile. This one didn't reach her eyes. "I just mean you're sitting on a gold mine. Have you ever thought about selling, moving somewhere more manageable?" "At your age, all this upkeep must be exhausting at your age." She'd known me for 15 minutes and she was already calculating my expiration date. Benjamin jumped in. "Mom loves this house, Leah. She's not going anywhere." "Oh, I know," Leah said quickly. Too quickly. "I just worry about her. It's such a big house for one person." I set down my fork slowly. "I manage just fine. I'm sure you do." She reached across the table and patted my hand, patronizing like I was a child who needed reassurance. "Benjamin just talks about you so much. He worries, you know. We both do." They'd been dating for 4 months, and she was already speaking for both of them. I looked at my son. He was staring at Leah like she'd hung the moon. After dinner, while Benjamin was in the bathroom, Leah wandered through my living room touching things, picking up picture frames, running her fingers along the mantel in my own house. "You have so many family photos," she said. "It must be hard being here alone with all these memories." "I like my memories," I said. "Of course you do." She picked up a photo of William. Benjamin's father was very handsome. "I'm so sorry for your loss. It must be difficult managing everything by yourself. The house, the finances, all of it." There it was again. Money, property, management, everything I'd built. She set the photo down. "You know, Benjamin and I have been talking about the future, about starting our lives together, about family." "That's nice," I said. My hands were folded in my lap, steady. "We want to make sure everyone's taken care of," she continued. "That there's a plan in place for everyone. A plan I repeated for your future," she said, smooth as silk. "Benjamin's your only son. We want to make sure you're protected, that everything you've worked for stays in the family." I smiled. "That's thoughtful of you. But what I was thinking was, you've been in my house for 2 hours and you're already counting my assets, already counting everything I built. I had no idea that within 6 months she'd be doing far worse than counting. They got engaged 3 months later. Benjamin called me crying. Happy crying. "Mom," she said, "yes. We're getting married." I wanted to be happy for him. I wanted to believe that my boy had found someone who loved him for him, and not for what he could give her. But my mama's voice was in my head. "Protect what's yours." "That's wonderful, baby." I said, "I'm happy for you." I wasn't. In September, Benjamin came to me. Nervous, twisting his hands the way he used to when he was a boy, asking for something he thought I'd say no to. "Mom, I need to ask you something. What is it, Leah's family? They're going through some financial difficulties. Her parents can't afford the wedding venue we wanted. It's $35,000. I felt my chest tighten. "That's a lot of money for a wedding." "I know, but Mom, she's the one, and I want to give her the wedding she deserves. I'll pay you back, I promise. We'll draw up a contract and everything." I looked at my son, 40 years old, successful civil engineer, making good money, and he was here begging me for $35,000 for a woman I'd met twice, begging me for money from everything I'd built. "Benjamin, please, Mom. I'll pay you back every penny with interest if you want." I should have said no. I should have listened to the voice screaming in my head. But he was my son, my baby. And he was looking at me with those eyes that used to look up at me from his crib, that used to run to me when he scraped his knee, that used to tell me I was the best mama in the world. "All right," I said. "But we're doing that contract in writing." "Of course." "Thank you, Mom. Thank you so much. We never did that contract. And that $35,000 was just the beginning. The wedding was in November 2018. Big, expensive, over 200 people. Leah wore a dress that probably cost more than my first car. Everything was white and gold and dripping with money that wasn't theirs. My money from everything I'd built. I sat in the front row wearing my best dress and my mama's pearls and watched my son marry a woman who looked at him the way a shark looks at blood in the water. At the reception, Leah found me at my table. "Thank you so much for everything, Grace," she said, hugging me. "Performance for the cameras. You've been so generous. We're starting this new chapter thanks to you. New chapter, new beginnings. Fresh start." She loved that language. Renewal. Starting over. Out with the old, in with the new. I should have known she meant me, but I didn't know yet what she was really planning. That discovery was still months away. They moved in 6 months later, June 2019. Benjamin called on a Tuesday. "Mom, can we come over and talk?" They showed up that evening. Leah had brought folders, actual folders with charts and documents and a presentation, like she was pitching a business deal for my house. "My own house? Grace, we've been thinking," she said, sitting on my couch like she already owned it. "You've been alone in this big house for 4 years now. That's a long time, and we worry about you." "I'm fine." I said, "We know you say that," Benjamin said. He looked tired. He always looked tired now. "But Mom, what if something happens? What if you fall? What if you need help? I'll call 911 like everyone else." Leah leaned forward, concerned face practiced. "Grace, we want to be here for you. Benjamin and I have been talking, and we think it would be best for everyone if we moved in. That way you're not alone. We can help with the house, with everything." I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "You want to move into my house." "We want to take care of you," Leah corrected. "And honestly, it would help us too. Rent in the city is astronomical, and we're trying to save for our future, for a family, for Benjamin's future. It would be temporary just until we get on our feet." I looked at Benjamin. "This is what you want." He nodded. "I think it makes sense, Mom, for everyone." Every instinct I had was screaming no. But what was I supposed to say that I didn't trust his wife, that something about her made my skin crawl, that I'd rather be alone than have them in my space in my own house? He was my son. "All right," I said temporarily. Leah's smile was instant, bright, victorious. They moved in the following weekend. By the second week, my house wasn't mine anymore. Little did I know that by August, I'd be a servant in my own house. Leah started with the quilts. I had 5 of them, handmade by my grandmother, my mom, and me. Quilts that had stories sewn into every stitch. Quilts that had kept 3 generations warm. I came home from the grocery store and they were gone. Clear's throat. "Where are my quilts?" I asked. Leah was rearranging the living room furniture. "Oh, those old things, Grace, they were falling apart. I took them to a donation center. You should have seen the woman's face. She was so grateful. Those were my grandmother's quilts." I know, sweetie, patronizing. But sometimes we have to let go of the past to make room for new beginnings. You understand, right? I understood that she'd just thrown away pieces of my family history like they were trash in my own house. "Next time, ask me first," I said. My voice was steady, cold. "Of course," Leah said. But her smile said she'd do whatever she wanted. The next week, she took over the kitchen. Clear's throat. Reorganized everything, threw out my cast iron skillet, the one I'd been seasoning for 40 years, because it looked old and crusty. She redecorated the living room, moved furniture without asking, took down family photos, and replaced them with abstract art I didn't recognize. She took over William's study, the room I'd kept exactly as he left it. His books, his desk, his reading chair where he used to fall asleep with the newspaper on his chest. I came home one day, and it was empty. Painted turned into Leah's home office. Where are William's things? My voice cracked. I couldn't help it. In the basement, Leah said, not even looking up from her laptop. Grace, that room was just collecting dust. It's been 4 years. You need to move forward, let go of the past and embrace new beginnings. New beginnings. She kept saying that, out with the old, in with the new. That was my husband's space, and now it's my office. She looked up, smiled. You understand, don't you? We're all living here together now. We all need our space. I stood in the doorway of that empty room and felt something inside me crack. But what Leah didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that I don't break. I bend, I crack, I bleed, but I don't break. By August, I was a servant in my own house. Leah would leave lists on the kitchen counter. Chores, grocery shopping, meal prep, like I was the help in my own house. Grace, can you make sure dinner's ready by 6? Benjamin's been working so hard. Grace, we're having people over Saturday. I'll need you to clean the guest bathroom. Grace, the laundry needs folding. Benjamin never said anything. He'd come home exhausted, kiss Leah, eat the dinner I made, and fall asleep on the couch by 8. I started eating my meals alone in my bedroom. It was easier than sitting at my own table being ignored. One night, I heard them through the wall. Your mother's been acting strange, Leah said. She's just adjusting. Benjamin mumbled, half asleep. I don't think it's that simple. Have you noticed how she forgets things? How confused she seems sometimes. I pressed my ear to the wall, heart pounding. 70 years old and pressing my ear to the wall in my own house. Ma's fine, Leah. I'm not so sure. A pause. Benjamin. I think we need to start thinking about long-term plans. Your mother's not getting any younger. She might need professional care soon. You think Mom needs a nursing home. I think we need to be realistic, and we need to make sure everything is handled properly. Her finances, her properties, everything before things get complicated. Everything I built, everything I'd worked for. Silence. I just want what's best for her, Leah said, soft, concerned. And what's best for us, for our future. I sat back against the wall, breathing, just breathing. They were planning something and I needed to know what. But what I discovered next would change everything. In September 2019, I called Melanie, my granddaughter Benjamin's daughter, from his first marriage. 21 years old, smart, loyal, the only person in my family who still looked at me like I was a person instead of a problem. Grandma, what's wrong? She asked. She could always tell. Baby, I need your help with something. Can you come over when they're not here? She came the next morning. Benjamin and Leah were both at work. I told her everything. The quilts William study, the lists, the conversation I'd overheard, everything happening in my own house. Melanie's jaw got tighter with every word. Grandma, that's abuse, she said. She's abusing you in your own house. I know that. So kick them out. It's not that simple. Why not? Because he's my son. Because I love him even though he's letting this happen. Because I'm 70 years old and the law doesn't always protect old women who accuse their families of abuse. Because without proof, I'm just a paranoid old lady. Because I need evidence, I said instead. I need proof of what she's doing, what she's planning, something nobody can deny. Melanie was quiet for a moment. Then she pulled out her phone. How do you feel about cameras? We spent the next 3 days researching. Small cameras, hidden cameras, the kind you can't see unless you know where to look. We bought 6 of them. Melanie paid cash so there'd be no credit card trail. We installed them everywhere. 1 in the kitchen, 1 in the living room, 1 in the hallway upstairs, 1 in William's old study, Leah's office now, 1 in the dining room, 1 in the master bedroom where Leah and Benjamin slept. They were tiny, smaller than a quarter, hidden in smoke detectors and picture frames and decorative vases. Are you sure you want to do this? Melanie asked. Once you see what's really happening, you can't unsee it. I'm sure, I said. I wasn't. but I needed to know. The camera's connected to an app on my phone, a phone Leah didn't know I'd upgraded to because she assumed I was too old to understand smartphones. That first night, I watched, and what I saw made my hands shake so hard I almost dropped the phone. Leah waited until Benjamin left for work. Then she went through my bedroom, opened drawers, read through papers on my nightstand, photographed documents with her phone. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped my phone. 2 days later, I caught her on the phone in the office. "No, she doesn't know," Leah said, laughing. "Grace is clueless. She barely knows how to work her TV remote." Pause. "I'm telling you, Claire, this woman is sitting on a fortune, and she's too stupid to even realize it. Benjamin says she owns at least 3 properties, maybe more. And she just sits here, does nothing. Everything I built, and she's calling me stupid." My chest tightened. "We just need to be patient." Leah continued. "Once we get her declared incompetent, and believe me, that won't be hard, everything transfers to Benjamin, and what's Benjamin's is mine." She laughed again. "I know, right? All I had to do was marry her pathetic son and wait for her to die. But honestly, she's taking too long. We might need to speed things up." Pathetic son. She's taken too long. I stopped the recording set, my phone down, stared at the wall. My son's wife was planning to steal everything I'd built, and my son was letting her. But what I discovered over the next 6 months would be far worse. Over the next 6 months, I documented everything. Every insult, every phone call, every conversation, where Leah talked about when Grace is gone, or once we get control of her properties, or she won't last much longer anyway. She kept saying it. She's taking too long. Like I was a problem that needed solving. I documented Benjamin too. The way he'd nod along. The way he'd say, "Whatever you think is best, babe." The way he never, not once, defended me. I saved it all, backed it up, made copies, gave copies to Melanie, gave copies to Mr. Harper. By December 2024, I had hours of footage proof that my family was trying to rob me, trying to steal everything I'd built, everything I'd worked for, and I knew exactly when I was going to show them. New Year's Eve, the night Leah loved talking about. New beginnings fresh, starts out with the old in with the new. Let's give her a new beginning she'd never forget. But first, I had to survive what happened in October. On October 15th, 2024, my attorney called. "Grace, we have a problem," Mr. Harper said. His voice was tight controlled, but I could hear the anger underneath. "What kind of problem?" "Someone tried to transfer 2 of your properties into Benjamin and Leah's names. The documents came through this morning." The room tilted. "What 2 properties? The one on Cottage Grove and the one on King Drive. Combined value of about $1.3 million. The paperwork has your signature on it. But Grace, I know your signature. This isn't it. Properties from everything I'd built. My properties." I sat down. My legs wouldn't hold me anymore. They forged my signature. "Yes." A pause. "Grace, I need to tell you something else. Leah came to see me 3 weeks ago alone. She wanted information about your holdings, all of them. She said you'd asked her to handle your affairs but couldn't remember the details. My hands were trembling. What did you tell her?" "Nothing. I told her that any information about your estate required your direct authorization and physical presence. She wasn't happy. She implied you were becoming forgetful, that maybe I should consider whether you were still competent to manage your own affairs. She tried to get you to declare me incompetent. She tried," Mr. Harper said, "but I've known you for 30 years, Grace. I know exactly how sharp you are. That's why, when these documents came through, I knew immediately something was wrong." I closed my eyes. "Can you stop the transfer already done? I've flagged both properties. Nothing can be transferred without you physically present in my office with 2 forms of ID. But Grace," he paused, "you need to deal with this. If they're willing to forge documents, they're willing to do worse. After I hung up, I sat there breathing, 70 years old, and my family was forging documents to steal everything I'd built. Then I pulled out my phone and opened the camera app. I scrolled through the footage from the last few weeks looking for something specific, and that's when I found it. I found it 3 days later, October 12th. Leah in the office on the phone. "It's done," she said. "I signed the papers this morning. Use the scanner at the library so there's no trail." Pause. Benjamin doesn't need to know the details. He just needs to trust me. And he does. Pause. Once the properties transfer, we can start the process of getting her declared incompetent. I've already been documenting everything. Her confusion, her forgetfulness. I've got 3 family members ready to testify that she's losing it. Another paused. Then she laughed. "Claire, the woman is 70 years old and living alone in a house that's falling apart. Who's going to believe she's competent enough to manage $4 million in real estate? The court will give Benjamin power of attorney. And once he has that, everything I built, gone just like that." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. I saved the video, backed it up, sent it to Mr. Harper. Then I scrolled back further, looking for Benjamin. I found him 2 weeks earlier. October 1st, late night Benjamin and Leah in their bedroom. "Are you sure about this?" Benjamin asked. He sounded uncertain, scared. "Baby, we've been through this." Leah's voice was patient, patronizing. "Your mother isn't going to last forever. And when she goes, everything goes into probate. It'll be tied up for years. But if we do this now, it feels wrong. What feels wrong is watching her sit on millions while we struggle. What feels wrong is you working yourself to death while she hoards everything. You're her son, Benjamin. You deserve this. We deserve this. Everything I built, and he thinks he deserves it." Silence. "She'll understand eventually," Leah continued. "We're just starting the next chapter early, that's all. I don't know Benjamin." Her voice got sharper. "Do you trust me?" "Of course I do. Then trust me on this. Your mother will be taken care of. We'll make sure she has everything she needs. But we need to think about our future, our family, the children we want to have. We can't do that living paycheck to paycheck while she sits on a fortune." More silence. Then Benjamin said, "Okay, do what you need to do." I stopped the video. My son, my baby boy, the child I carried for 9 months and raised for 43 years. The boy who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. The man I'd sacrificed everything for. He'd just given his wife permission to rob me, to steal everything I'd built, everything I'd worked for. I sat in my bedroom, the only space in my house that still felt like mine. And I cried not because I was surprised. The cameras had prepared me for this, but because knowing and seeing are 2 different things. And watching your child choose money over you breaks something that can't be fixed. I cried for about 20 minutes. Then I stopped, wiped my face, opened my laptop, and I started planning the rest of my life. A life that no longer included my son. But before that New Year's Eve reckoning, Leah had one more move to make. November 2024, Leah started her campaign. She called it Building Consensus. I called it what it was, turning my own family against me. My daughter Barbara called first. "Mom, we need to talk about what about you?" She sighed like I was exhausting her. "Leah's been telling me some things. She says you've been forgetting stuff, getting confused. She's worried about you." "I'm not confused, Barbara. That's what confused people say, Mom." Her voice was gentle, patient. The way you talk to someone you think is losing their mind. "Look, nobody's saying you're, but maybe it's time to think about making some changes, downsizing, getting help, making sure everything's organized for the future. Everything I built, everything I'd worked for. And they're calling me confused. My future is fine. Is it, Mom, you're 70 years old, you're living alone in that big house? What if something happens? What if you fall? What if? What if I'm fine? And clears throat. Everyone would leave me alone. Silence. Mom. I'm trying to help. No, I said you're trying to make yourself feel better about whatever Leah's been telling you. She hung up. 2 days later, my niece Helen showed up unannounced with her husband Carl. Aunt Grace, we wanted to check on you, Helen said, walking through my house. My own house, looking at everything, assessing. I'm fine, are you, Carl asked. Because Helen's been hearing some concerning things. From who? Leah, from family. Helen said diplomatic people who care about you. People who've noticed you've been different lately. Different, how forgetful, distant. Aunt Grace. There's no shame in getting older. But you have to be realistic. You can't keep living like you're 50. I set down my coffee cup slowly. I'm not confused, Helen. I'm not forgetful. And I'm certainly not incompetent. Nobody said incompetent. But that's what you're thinking, isn't it? That's what Leah told you to think. Helen and Carl exchanged a look, the kind of look that said they'd already decided I was losing it. We just want what's best for you, Helen said. What's best for me? How many times had I heard that phrase in the last 6 months? They left 30 minutes later, but I knew they'd go right back to Leah and report that yes, Aunt Grace is definitely declining. The next week, Barbara came by with her husband, Marcus, and Leah an intervention. That's what they called it. The three of them sat in my living room, my own house, my living room, and talked about me like I wasn't there. We think it's time to sell the house, Barbara said. No, I said. Mom, listen. No. Leah leaned forward, a concerned face. Grace, we've been talking to several family members. Everyone agrees that you need more support right now, more structure, maybe a place where there are people around where you're not so isolated. You want to put me in a nursing home. We want you to be safe, Barbara said. Her eyes were wet. Guilty, but not guilty enough to stop. I'm safe in my own house. Are you? Leah asked. Soft, dangerous. Grace, you left the stove on twice last week. I hadn't, but she said it so confidently that Barbara's eyes went wide. Mom, you could have burned the house down. I didn't leave the stove on. See, Leah looked at Barbara at Marcus. This is what I'm talking about. She doesn't remember. She thinks she's fine, but she's not. I felt my chest tighten. This was it. This was how they were going to do it. Lie. Gaslight. Get enough people to agree that I was incompetent. Then take everything I built, everything I'd worked for. I think we need to talk about power of attorney. Marcus said he was a lawyer, corporate law. But still, he knew the words that mattered. Power of attorney, I repeated. Just temporarily, Barbara said quickly. Just until things stabilize. Benjamin would handle everything. Your finances, your properties, your medical care. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. Benjamin would handle everything. Benjamin, who'd already tried to forge my signature. Benjamin, who'd given Leah permission to rob me, handle everything I built. No, I said, Mom. I said no. Leah's expression shifted just for a second. I saw it. The mask slipped. Cold, calculating, angry. Then the concerned face was back. Grace, we're trying to help you. We're your family. We love you, but you're not making good decisions right now, and we can't just stand by and watch you hurt yourself. Get out of my house. Silence. Mom, I said, get out. Out of my house. They left, but I heard Leah in the driveway talking to Barbara. She's worse than I thought. We might need to accelerate the timeline. I stood at the window and watched them drive away. Then I pulled out my phone, opened the camera app, and saved every second of that conversation. Over the next 2 weeks, 6 more family members called or visited, all with the same message, all speaking the same language, all convinced that I was losing my mind and needed help. all convinced that 70 years old meant I couldn't manage what I'd built. Leah had built her army, and the only soldier on my side was Melanie. She came over on a Thursday late after Leah and Benjamin were asleep. "Grandma, this is getting scary." She said, "They're really doing this. They're really trying to steal everything, I know. Everything I built. So, what are we going to do?" I looked at my granddaughter, 21 years old, brave, loyal, the only person who still believed me. "We're going to wait," I said. "Just a little bit longer." "For what?" "For New Year's Eve." Melanie frowned. "Why New Year's Eve?" "Because Leah loves talking about new beginnings. Fresh starts out with the old in with the new." I smiled. "So I'm going to give her exactly what she wants. A fresh start, just not the one she's expecting." "What are you planning, you'll see," I said. "Everyone will see." But before I could get to that moment, I had to survive my darkest hour. The week after Thanksgiving, I hit bottom. I woke up at 3:00 in the morning. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Just lay there in the dark, listening to Leah and Benjamin sleeping down the hall in what used to be my bedroom. Because yes, they'd taken that too. And I thought maybe they're right. Maybe I should just give up, sign everything over, move to some apartment somewhere and let them have it all. Let them have everything I'd built, everything I'd worked for. I was 70 years old, tired alone fighting my own family. Maybe it wasn't worth it. I stayed in bed until noon, didn't eat, didn't move, just stared at the ceiling. Then Melanie called. "Grandma, you okay? You didn't answer my texts." I couldn't even lie to her. "No, baby, I'm not okay." She was at my door 30 minutes later. We sat in my bedroom, the small guest room that had become my entire world. And I told her everything I was feeling. The exhaustion, the doubt, the fear that maybe I was crazy, that maybe I was too old for this, that maybe I should just surrender. Surrender everything I'd built. Melanie listened, didn't interrupt. And when I was done, she said, "You remember what you told me when Grandpa died?" I shook my head. "You told me that grief doesn't get to win, that loss doesn't get to take more than it already took. You said the people who survive are the people who wake up every day and choose to keep surviving, even when it hurts, even when it's hard." My eyes burned. "You taught me that, Grandma. You taught me how to be strong, how to fight, how to protect what's mine." She grabbed my hand. "Now you need to remember it yourself. You need to protect what's yours." She was right. I'd survived Mississippi. I'd survived poverty. I'd survived my husband's death. I'd survived 40 years of people underestimating me because I was Black, because I was a woman, because I was from the South, because I didn't have a degree. I'd built an empire from nothing. I sure as hell could survive my son's wife. That night after Melanie left, I went to my closet, reached up to the top shelf, pulled down a small wooden box. Inside were my mama's pearls, the ones she'd given me at the Greyhound station in 1979, the ones I'd never worn because they were too precious, too important. I put them on, looked at myself in the mirror, 70 years old, tired, angry, scared, but still here, still breathing, still fighting. I called Mr. Harper the next morning. "Julian, I need you to do 3 things. I'm listening. First, I need you to freeze all my properties. No transfers, no sales, no changes of any kind without me physically in your office, with 2 forms of ID and a witness who isn't family. Everything I built protected. Done. Second, I need a new will. I'm disinheriting Benjamin and Barbara. Everything goes to Melanie Women's Empowerment Organizations and my employees, Ruth and Dorothy. They've been with me for years. They deserve it." Silence on the other end. "Then Grace, are you sure that's your son? I've never been more sure of anything." "All right, I'll draft it today." Third, I said I need you to find me a lawyer who specializes in elder abuse and fraud because on January 2nd, I'm pressing charges. Mr. Harper was quiet for a long moment. "You're really doing this. I'm really doing this good." He said, "It's about damn time." I met with attorney Sandra Morris the following week. She was 51, sharp, no nonsense. She'd built her career defending elderly people from predatory family members. "Mrs. Brown," she said, after I'd shown her all the evidence, "this is one of the most clear-cut cases of attempted elder abuse and financial fraud I've ever seen. With this footage, we can press criminal charges. Leah could face prison time. How much time? With the dollar amounts involved, 2 to 5 years, maybe more." I sat back, let that sink in. 2 to 5 years in prison for my son's wife, the mother of the children Benjamin wanted to have. And Benjamin, I asked. He's complicit, but he didn't actually sign the forged documents. Leah did. If he cooperates, he might avoid criminal charges. But civilly, he's done. He'll never see a penny of your estate. He'll never see a penny of everything I built. "Good," I said. Attorney Morris looked at me. Really looked at me. "Mrs. Brown, I have to ask, are you prepared for what comes next? This is going to destroy your family." "My family destroyed itself," I said. "I'm just making sure there are consequences. We filed the paperwork on December 20th, but we didn't serve it yet. We were waiting music for New Year's Eve. On December 27th, Leah announced she was throwing a party. Grace. I've invited the whole family for New Year's Eve," she said, smiling excited. "A big celebration. New year, new beginnings. Everyone's coming. It'll be wonderful. In my house, my own house." "That sounds nice," I said. It did sound nice. Perfect, actually. 40 witnesses all in one place, all about to see exactly who Leah really was. I spent the next 3 days preparing. I hooked up the video footage to the living room television, the big 75-inch screen Benjamin had bought because he said I needed something easier to see since I was getting old. The screen, he said, I probably couldn't even work. Tested it twice, made sure everything played correctly, made sure the sound was crystal clear. Mr. Harper and Attorney Morris would be there not as guests. As my legal team, I rehearsed what I was going to say, practiced staying calm, practiced not crying. On December 30th, Melanie came over. "You ready for this?" "Grandma," I looked at her, my granddaughter, my only ally, the only one who'd believed me. "No," I said honestly, "but I'm doing it anyway." She hugged me. "You're the strongest person I know." I wasn't strong, I was terrified. But sometimes being terrified and doing it anyway is the same thing as being brave. New Year's Eve morning, I put on my best dress, did my hair, put on my mama's pearls, looked at myself in the mirror. 70 years old, ready to reclaim everything I'd built. This is it, baby girl. I whispered to myself, to my mom, to every woman who'd ever been told she was too old, too quiet, too weak to fight back. Let's show them what we're made of. The guests started arriving at 7. By 9 hours, my living room was packed. 40 people, maybe more. Family I hadn't seen in months. Cousins, nieces, nephews, Barbara and Marcus Helen and Carl Leah's sister Claire, all of them drinking champagne and eating food I'd cooked, but wouldn't get credit for. In my house, my own house. Leah floated through the crowd like a hostess at a country club. She'd changed 3 times, already settled on a gold dress that probably cost $1,000. Her hair was perfect. Her makeup was perfect. She looked like someone who'd already won, who'd already taken everything I built. Benjamin stood next to her, tired, uncomfortable. But there I stayed in the corner, quiet, watching. At 10:30, Leah clink-ticked her glass. The room went silent. Everyone, can I have your attention? She was glowing, radiant. I just want to say thank you all for being here tonight, for helping us celebrate new beginnings, fresh starts. This past year has been incredible, and next year is going to be even better. She looked at Benjamin. He smiled weakly. We have so much to be grateful for. Leah continued. Family love, and she glanced at me just for a second. A bright future ahead. People clapped. Someone whistled. That's when she turned to me. Grace, she said, sweet, concerned performance for the crowd. Sweetheart, maybe you'd be more comfortable upstairs. I know all this noise can be overwhelming. You could watch the ball drop on TV. It'll be quieter up there. The room got quiet. Everyone was looking at me. 70 years old in my own house. This party isn't really for someone your age anyway. Leah added, laughing like it was a joke. You'd probably enjoy it more from your room. Someone in the back, I think it was Claire, laughed, then someone else. Then half the room was chuckling, nodding like, yes, of course, Grace should go upstairs. Let the adults celebrate. Turn on the subtitles for her, someone yelled. More laughter, louder this time. Barbara looked down, guilty, but she didn't say anything. I stood up slowly, every eye in the room on me 70 years old in my own house, about to reclaim everything I'd built. You're right, Leah, I said. My voice was calm, steady. Something is going to drop at midnight, but we're all going to watch it together on this screen. I pointed to the television. Leah's smile faltered. What are you talking about? I picked up the remote, the one she said I probably couldn't work. You wanted a New Year's celebration. I'm giving you one. A look back at the year we've had, all of us together. Grace. Benjamin started. I pressed play. The screen came to life and there was Leah in the office on the phone. September 2024. No, she doesn't know. Leah's voice filled the room. Clear. Undeniable. Grace is clueless. She barely knows how to work her TV remote. The room went silent. Dead. Silent. On screen. Leah laughed. I'm telling you, Claire, this woman is sitting on a fortune and she's too stupid to even realize it. Someone gasped. I didn't look away from the screen. Neither did anyone else. We just need to be patient video, Leah continued. Once we get her declared incompetent, and believe me, that won't be hard, everything transfers to Benjamin, and what's Benjamin's is mine. She laughed again. I know, right? All I had to do was marry her pathetic son and wait for her to die. But honestly, she's taking too long. We might need to speed things up. Pathetic son. She's taking too long. Speed things up. I heard Claire make a small sound, choked, horrified. Benjamin's face emptied of all expression. Grace, sit down, I said, not loud, but firm. You're going to watch all of it. The next clip played. October 12th. Leah in the office again. It's done. I signed the papers this morning. Used the scanner at the library so there's no trail. Attorney Morris stepped forward from where she'd been standing by the door. Silent till now. For those wondering, the papers she's referring to are forged property transfer documents attempting to steal $1.3 million in real estate. That's felony fraud. The room erupted, people talking over each other, shocked, angry. That's not Leah started. Her face was red, panicked. Grace, this is taken out of context. Context, I said, let's give them context. I played the next clip. Leah and Benjamin, their bedroom, October 1st. Are you sure about this? Benjamin's voice asked. Baby, we've been through this. Your mother isn't going to last forever. And when she goes, everything goes into probate. But if we do this now, it feels wrong. What feels wrong is watching her sit on millions while we struggle. Barbara was crying. Marcus looked stricken. She'll understand eventually. Video Leah said, we're just starting the next chapter early. Silence. Then Benjamin's voice. Okay, do what you need to do. The room exploded. You tried to rob your own mother, Helen shouted. Benjamin, what the hell is wrong with you? Barbara was on her feet, furious. Let me explain. Benjamin tried. Explain what? I said. My voice cut through the chaos. Explain how you let your wife plan to steal everything I worked for. Explain how you gave her permission. Explain how you stood by while she told everyone I was losing my mind so you could take control of my assets. Everything I built, everything I'd worked for. And he gave her permission. Clears throat. He couldn't. He just stood there crying broken. Leah tried to run, made it 3 steps before Mr. Harper blocked the door. "Mrs. Brown," he said, calm, professional. "You're not going anywhere, Attorney Morris." Sandra Morris stepped forward, papers in hand. "Leah Porter Brown. These are criminal fraud charges. You're being charged with attempted theft, forgery, and elder abuse. The police have been contacted. They'll be here shortly." Leah's eyes went wild. "You can't do this." "I can," I said, "and I am." I turned to face the room. 40 faces shocked, horrified, some angry, some guilty. For the past 6 months, I said, I've been called confused, forgetful, incompetent. I've been told I need help, that I need to move, that I need to give up control of my life and my assets to people who supposedly care about me. I looked at Barbara, at Helen, at everyone who doubted me. But I wasn't confused. I was documenting. I was gathering evidence. Because when you're an old woman, when you're 70 years old, and you tell people your family is trying to rob you, nobody believes you. They think you're paranoid. They think you're losing your mind. My voice cracked just a little, so I made sure there was no room for doubt. The countdown started on TV. The real one. 10-9-8. "This house is mine," I said. "The properties are mine. The money is mine. Everything I built is mine. I earned it. I built it. And nobody, not my son, not his wife, not anyone gets to take it from me." 765 Benjamin Barbara. "You're both disinherited. You'll receive nothing when I die. Everything goes to Melanie, to charity, and to the people who actually cared about me." 432 and Leah. I looked at her. She was crying. Mascara running. Nothing left of that perfect mask. "You wanted new beginnings. Here's yours. 1. Happy New Year." The room erupted in cheers from the TV from Times Square, but my living room, my own house, was silent. The police arrived at 12:17 a.m. They took Leah out in handcuffs. She was screaming, cursing me, calling me every name you could think of, and some you couldn't. I watched from the window until the police car disappeared. Then I turned back to my family. Most of them had left. Couldn't get out fast enough, embarrassed, ashamed. But some stayed. Helen came to me crying. "Aunt Grace, I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. I should have." "You should have," I said. "Not mean just honest, but you didn't. And I'll remember that." Barbara tried to approach. Marcus held her back. "Mom," she started. "Don't," I said. "Not tonight. Maybe not ever. But definitely not tonight." Benjamin sat on the couch, head in his hands. Broken part of me wanted to go to him, to comfort him, to mother him. But the bigger part of me knew he'd made his choice and I'd made mine. Melanie brought me a glass of water. "You did it, Grandma." I'd done it. I'd fought back. I'd won. I'd protected everything I built. So why did I feel so empty? The next 2 days were a nightmare. Leah and Benjamin stayed upstairs. I stayed down. We moved around each other like ghosts. I could hear them fighting his voice, pleading hers, sharp, angry, blaming him for everything. "If you'd just been stronger, if you hadn't tried to rob her. She's your mother. You should have controlled her. Control her, Leah. She was 6 steps ahead of us the whole time." It went on for hours through New Year's Day, through the night. I didn't sleep, just sat in my small bedroom with my phone looking at messages. "Melanie, I'm so proud of you, Grandma. Mr. Harper, you did the right thing. Call me tomorrow. Attorney Morris Leah's arraignment is scheduled for January 4th. We'll talk." And texts from family, dozens of them. Some apologizing, some angry, some pretending nothing had happened. "Barbara, Mom, can we please talk?" I didn't know what Leah was planning. I swear I didn't know. I stared at that message for 20 minutes. She didn't know. Maybe that was true. Maybe she'd been manipulated too. But she'd believed Leah over me, her own mother. When it mattered, she'd chosen the wrong side. I didn't respond. On January 2nd, Benjamin came downstairs. He looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight. Ma. His voice cracked. I was sitting at the kitchen table drinking coffee. My coffee in my house, my own house. Say what you need to say, I told him. He sat down across from me. I'm sorry. 2 words meaningless. You're sorry, I repeated. I didn't know she was going to forge documents. I swear. I thought he stopped. Started again. I thought we were just going to talk to you, convince you to sell some properties, give us some money to get started. You thought I'd just hand over my life's work, everything I built. You're my mother. Like that explained everything. Clear his throat. Like being his mother meant I owed him everything I'd built. I was your mother on New Year's Eve, too. I said, when you let her humiliate me, when you let her tell me to go watch TV upstairs because I didn't belong at a party in my own house. He flinched. I was your mother when you gave her permission to rob me, when you nodded along while she called me stupid, when you stood by while she tried to get me declared incompetent, while she tried to steal everything I'd worked for. Mom, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. But I love you and I'm asking. His voice broke. I'm begging you to forgive me. I looked at my son, really looked at him, saw the little boy who used to hold my hand crossing the street, the teenager who'd been so proud when he got his engineering degree, the man who'd cried at his father's funeral and told me we'd get through it together. I also saw the man who'd betrayed me for money, who'd let someone try to steal everything I built. Forgiveness isn't something I owe you because we're blood, I said quietly. It's something you earn by becoming someone worth forgiving. Apologies without change are just noise, Benjamin. What do you want me to do? I want you to leave my house. I want you to rebuild your life somewhere else. I want you to figure out who you are without Leah telling you. And maybe in a few years, if you've changed, if you've become the man I raised you to be, we can talk about what forgiveness looks like. The will. The will stands. No matter what, you won't inherit a penny from me. Not a penny of everything I built. But that's not punishment, Benjamin. That's protection. Protection for both of us. He cried, 43 years old and sobbing at my kitchen table. I didn't comfort him. Didn't reach across and take his hand. Didn't tell him it would be okay, because I'd spent 70 years comforting people who hurt me. I was done. The moving truck came at noon. Leah was out on bail. Her parents had put up their house. She came down the stairs in jeans and a sweatshirt. No makeup hair and a ponytail. She looked small, ordinary. She didn't say a word to me, just walked past like I didn't exist. They packed their things. It took 4 hours. Benjamin moved slowly like every box was a boulder. I watched from the window. Melanie stood next to me. You okay, Grandma? No, I said honestly, but I will be. At 4:00, the truck pulled away. Benjamin stood in the driveway looking at the house at me in the window. My house, everything I built. I didn't wave, didn't smile, just watched until he got in his car and drove away. Then I turned to Melanie. Help me change the locks. We spent the evening making my house mine again. We moved furniture back, hung up old photos, brought William's things up from the basement, and put them back in his study. I found one of my grandmother's quilts, the one Leah hadn't thrown away, wrapped it around my shoulders, and sat in William's chair. For the first time in 8 months, my house felt like home. My own house. Melanie ordered Chinese food. We ate it on the couch, watched a movie, talked about nothing important. At midnight, she hugged me. I should go let you rest. Thank you, baby, I said, for believing me, for standing with me, for everything. Always, Grandma, always. After she left, I walked through my house. Every room, reclaiming it, feeling it, mine, all mine. Everything I built. I ended up in the kitchen, made tea, sat at the table and cried. Not sad crying, not happy crying, just release. letting go of 6 months of fear and anger and exhaustion. I'd won. I'd fought and I'd won. But winning felt lonelier than I'd expected. January through November 2025 was a year of rebuilding. Leah's trial happened in March. Attorney Morris was brilliant. She presented every piece of evidence, every recording, every forged document. The prosecutor called me to testify. "Mrs. Brown," he said, "can you tell the jury what it felt like to discover your own family was trying to steal from you?" I looked at the jury. 12 faces, some young, some old, all watching me. "It felt like dying," I said. Honest, raw. Like everything I'd worked for, not just the money, but my dignity, my worth, my right to be believed was being erased. And the worst part was that they made me question myself. They made me wonder if maybe I was confused, maybe I was losing my mind, maybe they were right and I was wrong. I looked at Leah. She wouldn't meet my eyes. But I wasn't wrong. I continued. And the fact that I had to record my own family for 6 months just to be believed that I'm 70 years old and had to prove I wasn't losing my mind, that tells you everything you need to know about what it means to be an old woman in this country. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Leah was sentenced to 4 years in prison, plus restitution, plus a permanent restraining order. She cried, begged the judge for mercy, said she'd made mistakes, but she wasn't a criminal. The judge looked at her stone-faced. "Mrs. Brown, you systematically targeted, manipulated, and attempted to rob a 70-year-old woman. Your victim wasn't a stranger. She was your husband's mother. A woman who trusted you, who welcomed you into her home, who gave you money for your wedding when you asked, and you repaid that kindness by trying to steal everything she'd built." He shook his head. 4 years is a gift. Be grateful it isn't more. I watched them take her away. I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not anger, nothing. Just empty. Benjamin lost his job. The scandal spread through his firm. They asked him to resign quietly. He did. He moved in with a friend, took a job at a smaller company, didn't make nearly as much money as he used to. He wrote to me once a month. Every month. "Mom, I'm sorry. Mom, I'm in therapy. I'm trying to understand how I let this happen. Mom, I miss you. Mom, please." "Can we talk?" I didn't respond. Not for months. Barbara tried too. Less often, more carefully. In April, she sent a long email apologizing, explaining, asking for forgiveness. I read it 3 times. Then I wrote back, "I need time. I don't know how much, but I need it." She responded, "Take all the time you need." "I love you, Mom." I believed her. But love wasn't enough anymore. In May, I put my house on the market. Melanie was shocked. "Grandma, why you fought so hard to keep it?" "I fought to keep it from people who wanted to steal it," I said. "But baby, this house is full of ghosts, good ones and bad ones, and I need to start fresh. Where will you go?" I smiled. "You'll see." The house sold in 3 weeks. 1.8 million cash buyer, no contingencies. I used the money to buy an apartment in New York City. Manhattan, Upper West Side, 2 bedrooms, 1 for me, 1 for guests. Floor-to-ceiling windows and the view. The view overlooked Times Square. When the realtor showed it to me, I stood at the window, looked down at the street, at the billboards, at the ball. "I'll take it," I said. The realtor looked surprised. "Don't you want to think about it? See other options?" "No," I said. "This is the one." Because the irony was too perfect, too sweet. Leah told me to go upstairs and watch the ball drop on TV because I didn't belong. Now I could watch it from my window every single day if I wanted to. No TV needed. I moved in July. Melanie helped me decorate. We kept it simple, clean white walls, natural light plants everywhere. I hung my grandmother's quilt on the wall in the living room, put William's photo on the mantle, kept my mama's pearls in a box on my dresser. The rest was new, fresh mine. In August, I took a painting class. Just something to do, something to try. Turned out I was good at it. By September, I had 7 pieces. Bold colors, abstract shapes, women's faces, strong, defiant. A gallery owner saw my work at a community show, asked if I'd be interested in exhibiting. "You have a unique perspective," she said. "Raw, powerful. Your work has something to say." I exhibited in October titled The Collection, Women Who Don't Break. 35 pieces sold. The gallery wanted more. I started writing too. A memoir, my story. From Mississippi to Chicago to New York, from poverty to wealth, from silence to voice. The words poured out page after page, truth after truth, about everything I'd built, everything I'd survived. In November, I met Robert. He was at the gallery looking at my work. He stood in front of a painting I'd titled Invisible, a woman's silhouette surrounded by people who weren't looking at her. "This one," he said when he saw me, "this one breaks my heart." Good. I said it should. We talked for an hour. He was a widower-hour architect, 75 years old, lost his wife 2 years ago to cancer. I understand, he said when I told him my story in pieces. Not all of it, but enough about family, about loss, about starting over when you thought you were done starting. We started having coffee, then dinner, then walks through Central Park. It was easy, comfortable, no drama, no games, just 2 people who'd lived long enough to know what mattered. He had his apartment. I had mine. We didn't need to move in together, didn't need to complicate things. We just needed the company. In November, I finally responded to Benjamin's letters. "Benjamin, I've read everything you've sent. I believe that you're sorry. I believe that you're in therapy. I believe that you're trying to change. But I need you to understand something. Forgiveness doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't undo the damage. It doesn't mean we go back to how things were. I'm willing to talk carefully, slowly, with boundaries. But the will stands. You're not getting my money. Not now. Not ever. You won't inherit anything from everything I built. If you can accept that and still want a relationship with me, then maybe we can start rebuilding. If you can't, then we're done. The choice is yours. Grace." He responded the same day. "Mom, I understand, I accept. I just want you in my life. However that looks, I love you, Benjamin." We had coffee in December at a cafe near my apartment. Neutral territory. It was awkward, painful. We didn't talk about Leah, didn't talk about the money, didn't talk about New Year's Eve, didn't talk about everything I built and everything he tried to take. We talked about small things, his new job, my painting, the weather. "I like your hair," he said. "It looks good." I'd cut it short, natural gray. I'd stop dyeing it. "Thank you," I said. An hour later, we hugged goodbye briefly, carefully. "Can we do this again?" he asked. Maybe I said. "We'll see." It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. Maybe never. But it was a start. December 31st, 2025, New Year's Eve. Exactly 1 year after everything changed. I woke up early, made coffee, stood at my window looking down at Times Square. They were already setting up barriers, stages, security. By tonight, 1 million people would pack those streets, waiting, counting down, celebrating, and I'd be here above it all, watching from my own space. Melanie arrived at 6. She brought Ruth and Dorothy, my old employees who'd become my friends. They'd stuck with me through everything, never doubted, never left. Mr. Harper came at 7, Sandra Morris at 8, and Robert at 9. My chosen family, the people who'd earned their place in my life. We spent the evening talking, laughing, eating food we'd ordered in, because I was done cooking for crowds. "Tell us about the book," Ruth said. "When can we read it?" "Soon," I said. "I'm almost done. Just need to finish the ending." "What's the ending?" Melanie asked. "This," I said, gesturing to the room. "To them, this is the ending." As midnight approached, we gathered at the windows. The crowd below was massive, packed tight. A sea of people waiting for the ball to drop. "Should I turn on the TV?" Melanie asked. For the countdown. I looked at her, smiled. Why would we need TV? I pointed to the window right there. The real ball, the real countdown, the real celebration. No screen between us and life. At 11:59, I raised my glass. Last year, I said I was told to go watch the ball drop on TV upstairs because I didn't belong. I was told I was too old, too confused, too irrelevant to be part of the celebration. That I was 70 years old and didn't matter. They were all watching me, listening. Tonight, I'm watching the real thing from my own home, surrounded by people who see me, who chose me, who know what I'm worth. My voice cracked just a little. To women who refused to accept the version of reality others tried to sell them. To women who documented their truth. To women who fought back, to women who survived. To women who protected everything they built. To Grace, Robert said softly. To Grace, everyone echoed. The countdown started. 10, 9, 8. The crowd below screamed, cheered, celebrated. 7, 6, 5. I looked around the room at faces that loved me, respected me, chose me. 4, 3, 2. I looked out the window at the ball descending, at the confetti cannons ready to fire. At the chaos and joy and noise of a million people celebrating existence one. The ball dropped, the confetti exploded, the crowd roared, and I stood at my window, 70 years old, alone for so long, invisible for so long, finally visible, finally seen, finally home. My guests stayed until 2 in the morning, hugging, promising to visit. Melanie crying because she was so proud. Robert was the last to leave. Happy New Year, Grace, he said, kissing my forehead. Happy New Year, I said. I'll call you tomorrow. I'd like that. He left. The door closed and I was alone. I cleaned up, washed glasses, put away plates, moved through my apartment in comfortable silence. Then I went to bed. I woke up on January 1st, 2026 to sunlight streaming through my windows. The city was quiet, emptier than usual, exhausted from the night before. I made coffee, wrapped myself in my robe, and sat by the window overlooking Times Square. Below, sanitation workers swept confetti from the streets. The barriers were coming down the stages, being dismantled. The party was over. Everyone had gone home. I sipped my coffee, watched the sun rise over the buildings, felt the warmth through the glass. I didn't turn on the TV, didn't need it. The real view was right there, mine. Every morning, after 70 years of being invisible, in rooms full of people, I discovered something unexpected. Being alone in my own space, overlooking the world's most visible location, yet completely content in solitude, was the truest form of freedom. I didn't feel lonely. I felt whole. Last year, Leah told me to watch the ball drop on TV because I didn't belong. This morning, I'm watching the real Times Square from my window. No TV needed, no permission needed, no audience needed. Just me, my coffee, my peace, and the view nobody can take from me. Everything I built, everything I protected, everything that's mine. Where are you listening from? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Thank you for watching Dust Revenge. Choose what you want to watch next on the screen